Hey guys, welcome, and let me first say that if you have not seen my video entitled I'm a Father and a Grandfather, you need to go do that right now. Pause this video and go watch that so that you can be up to speed on what I'm about to reveal here. Also, if you just don't remember, some of the details from that video, I would recommend you refresh your memory because this video is a supplement to that video to sort of hammer home even more my point. And I will warn you that it's a bit disturbing what I found to supplement the previous video as if that wasn't disturbing enough. So let's get to it. One of the first gems I found when I went back and looked at this publicly posted stuff is this. Now there's a need for a translator here, considering how Slob's daughter tends to type when she writes in public. But if you look towards the last couple of sentences, or maybe that's just one giant long sentence, uh, she mentioned that she mentions, excuse me, that her dad is in MGTOW and writing anti-feminism books. So I found that interesting that she knows what her dear old dad has been up to. And again, it hammers home that this person is exactly who I say she is. And she is because, you know, from the previous video, if you've seen it, like I told you to, there are audio clips that match up with these public postings, these screenshots. Okay, so um, while this is kind of disturbing, there was a bit of comedy presented too, so check this one out. This one made me laugh out loud. So this is something she posted just a couple of months ago or a month and a half ago. And everyone knows that myself and a couple of others have been using this type of meme to represent, Slob Lewis, DDJ, Misandry Today, who I should mention is heavily connected to the 21 Convention and 21 Studios. All right. But I thought this was hilarious because I've used memes with this same basis. I'll put it on the screen real quick. Okay. So now to the meat and potatoes. So I come across an older screenshot, and I should have checked the date on that. It's fairly recent. It's been a month, month and a half, maybe a month since this come out. But she's mentioning something that happened between her and her brother. Remember from I'm a Father and a Grandfather. None of the children had good outcomes, but some of them had really bad outcomes. And what I'm going to show you is a conversation between the ones that are probably the worst off. So the oldest son and the youngest daughter. And she's talking here about her doing a lawsuit against her brother and mentioning that her parents knew about what I'm about to reveal to you and pretty much did nothing. And there's not really any indication that they ever did anything about this. Um, so with that out of the way, let's move on to the next one. And I will read this, to you and change a few of the words. So he mentions her name. He says, I've been reading all your emails regarding EPAR last year and I wanted to respond. I understand where you're coming from, but I remember very well the cat poop incident. I don't know if I covered that. That just sounds weird, but I digress. Where we humped each other playing pretend. So, yeah, he's talking about some dry humping incident, which we'll get to. But what I thought was the most interesting is he says, Dad knows about that. Dad being DDJ, Misandry Today, Bob Lewis. I felt bad and told him a week after, but you're right. Someone did corrupt you as a baby, and it's not your fault. Now, this daughter is the one from his second marriage. So the guy that was accused of EPAR against the first two children from the first marriage has never been around her. And yet they're talking about something happening to her as baby. Now, who would have had access to her when she was a baby? Huh. No idea. I don't know about anything else, but I hope you forgive me for that, he says. I didn't mean to add to your abuse growing up. I didn't know if it was right or wrong. I had stepsisters and then had half siblings. But please don't go around saying I EPAR'd you, because that's not true. It was mutual, which is creepy. You even told their youngest brother to leave the room. And for a lawsuit, generally speaking, you need to strike when the iron's hot. Now, let me also say that there were parts of the conversation that she did not reveal. She pretty much revealed all the stuff that is kind of damning to her brother on purpose. But I digress. So we missed some of the conversation, and then he comes back again. He says her name. You are acting really delusional right now, which he misspelled. If you don't act right, I really will block you. I didn't EPAR you. I didn't do that. You didn't do that. I'm not going to say that. We had clothes on and there was no, yeah. What you did with the youngest brother is none of my business, but you need to act right and not crazy. I am not having a relationship like this. I don't want to EPAR you, and I don't want to murder you. And then, of course, she kind of tells a story about her finding some substance on her skirt. I'm not going to read all of that. And says it basically implies that it came from him. And then we move on to the next one, which this one is definitely a continuation of that one. He says, good, you remember, I told Dad a week later we were in the dining room by the kitchen and the floor. Okay, I'm not sure how that's relevant, but it is relevant that he told Bob Lewis. And it doesn't seem like anything was done about it, but I don't know. He continues to hammer on here about things that he did. I'll let you read that for yourself. I'm not reading that. And he tells her, take it to court if you have a problem with it, but it was not EPAR and you need proof. You can't just say shit and try to recreate history. But that seems to kind of run in the family, though, doesn't it? Still, pretty sure something happened here. All right, so now we get to the last one. And of course, part of the conversation is cut out, but we will continue with what we know from this. You can't control what others say about you, but you can control how you respond. That's actually pretty wise. Like accusing me of EPAR. Not cool. I don't need some dumb chump with testosterone trying to break my teeth over an incident that happened when I was 14. And we had clothes on. Yeah. But he is right. Like, he doesn't need a white knight to come try to mess him up. But he says, maybe you'll remember properly someday, but I go through just as much hell as you do over that shit. Even more because I'm a dude. I'm sorry for my participation of fucking up our lives. But if you want to keep talking to me, you're going to have to change your tune because I'm not as dumb as you seem to think I am. I've lived on these streets for 12 years. I don't believe the shit you try to feed me, but I ain't no mark. Now stop, analyze what I just said, internalize it, and think about it. And accept that as my opinion and either cut the bullshit or cut the ties. EPAR is a serious accusation, which is correct. Same thing with you guys at Babylon about people being predators. I defended blank from EPAR. That's how we got to live with that, which I'm not sure how well that worked out for everybody either, personally. Strongly against, but I've learned forgiveness and it's helped me cope. May the Lord Jesus Christ teach you forgiveness and help you move on. Now, before I give my closing thoughts on all of this, I figured I'd play you guys a little audio clip that also corresponds with this old screenshot that I used in I'm a Father and a Grandfather. And it's interesting because she has constantly talked about this incident. Now, whether you think this was some sort of dream or whatever is up to you. I leave all this up to your own determination, but we'll get to that in my closing thoughts. But listen to this clip. She's making music, so like her brother, she is musically inclined. I'll give her that. So let's have a listen.
Remember back when I was 16 asleep in my bed. Realized I smelled her scent when she sighed, I could hear her breath. Titties was all out her head and hair laid on my chest. Skin on skin and way more hands than last time that I checked. And while her ass was in the air, I told Dad that I felt possessed. He asked if I was just dreaming and then he smiled and left. He offered me a pill, it sat on my windowsill. I sent a boy to jail, but bitch, I never looked back.
All right. Hopefully you could make out what she was saying there. It kind of went along with that screenshot I had on the screen. If you got to go back and listen again and try to figure out what's being said, then do what you got to do. But as far as my closing thoughts on all of this, I think it's pretty clear that this household was fucked up, for lack of a better term. And it's very unfortunate. The ones who suffered from all this shit are definitely the children who, you know, none of them are doing good, as I mentioned in the previous video. But I think there's hope for some of them that life will get better. And I do hope for that to happen because it's not their fault that they were born into the circumstances that they were. And I know it is the responsibility of adults to fix their shit. But, you know, I'm sure they grew up for years and years just in a really shitty, damaged situation with two irresponsible parents and one with, you know, NPD amongst other possible problems such as schizoaffective or something else. I'm not a psychologist, but there's definitely something wrong with Slob and certainly something wrong with the women which he had children. So, yeah, there may be more to add later at a later time that might be even more damning, but I hope you guys put your thinking caps on and your investigator glasses as you went through all this and think for yourself. But I think personally the implications are pretty clear. And with that, I will leave you guys until next time.